Prepare for extermination!
What's up guys, this is Constructicons97 back with another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Unite Warriors Devastor, otherwise known as the Takara Toei version of Combiner Wars Titan class Devastator. So this combiner is actually made up of 6 individual figures. You got Scavenger, you got behind him his Hook, you got the leader Scrapper, and behind him is Long Haul, and there you got Bonecrusher, and behind Bonecrusher is Mixmaster. So we're gonna take each of the individual looks for all 6 of these guys, then we're gonna transform them into their vehicle modes, and then we're gonna get into their combiner form, Devastator. So starting off with their team leader, Scrapper here. And as you can see, Scrapper is what you expect from him. He is a front-end loader. His bucket can move up and down. There's a couple of joints here on the bucket itself. And one thing you don't see here that does not include with the Combiner Wars version is a gun. And this just plug onto the smokestack itself here. And this is also the recurring theme here for this entire set, where all of the Constructicons come with their original weapons this time. And there's a nice throwback to the original G1 toy. If you could take the wing halves of Devastator's chest plate, there is a hole here on the underside, and then you can plug them in here like so. So you can recreate that flying front-end loader, just like the original G1 toy, which I never really owned. If I can align, that is... there we go. It may not have the middle part of the chest plate, but still, you can recreate that old flying front-end loader, just like the original figure, which is really, really, really nice. Let's bring this back down. And I really appreciate that the Takara brought this back here. Well, size-wise, he's not that big. And again, he is a Voyager, much like the rest of his teammates here. So, and the main difference here between the Combiner Wars version and even the Unite Warriors version here, especially in the vehicle mode for Scrapper, is the Decepticon symbol here. Well, on the Combiner Hasbro release, it was on the top of the roof. Now it's on the inside of the scoop, which is perfectly cartoon accurate. So now to transform this guy, first thing you want to do, you want to take his arms out of the way. Then take the feet, unpeg it from the inside of the thighs, and unpeg the foot from the inside, and then take the entire back section here of the vehicle and clip them into place like so. And which really reminds me of Masterpiece Sideswipe, the MP12 Sideswipe figure, where his legs transformed the similar way. And right here for his arms, and the major improvement on this Unite Warriors version of Scrapper is actually he has a proper elbow joint this time, which is really, really nice. Even extended like this. It's a little bit tight though, where you have to almost pull here like so, and flip with the fist, and again, much more improved here. That's why I took this version over the Combiner Wars version. And take the scoop, fold it over onto the roof, and fold this across the back, and straighten him out like so, and then take his head and straighten him all out, and boom, Scrapper robot mode. So I think Scrapper here looks really, really favorite. I think he's really one of my favorites here of the bunch here. And again, very much cartoon accurate like proportions here. You got the scoop on the back, you got the wheels here on the top of his shoulders, and which I forgot to mention, on the inside of the rims, and they have silver paint here, unlike the Combinables version, which I almost forgot. But whatever. But I think he really, really looks great. And also another difference between the Combinables version and the Hasbro release here, in terms of the robot mode, Scrapper actually had the red one here on this side of the torso on the Hasbro version. Well, on the Takara version, which I have, it's basically now red. And you got the red paint on here, you got the Decepticon symbol right there, you got the yellow and dark gray and gunmetal, dark and light gray color here on the sides of the skirts. You got the silver here on the on his legs, and of course the face sculpt definitely screams the character of Scrapper. On the Hasbro release, it had the much more of a silver face, and now this is much more cartoon accurately colored this time. And again, it's just very blocky. In terms of his articulation here, Scrapper does have a tight swivel at the head, can move up and down, shoulders can rotate all the way around, move in and out, in and out. If you want to, you can use the transformation joint to have it in like a cross-armed pose like that. And again, he has a bicep swivel, 90-degree bend at the elbow this time, just a much improved over the Hasbro release. He doesn't have any waist articulation here, but what he does have is the side ab crunch. But because he forms one of Devastator's legs, it basically is the ankle tilt for Devastator. Then back and forth the hips, which are almost really tight. They move in and out. Has tight thigh swivel, 90-degree bend at the knee, and some really nice ankle tilt. So overall, he's really, really nice to pose. And again, like I said, my much favorite of the bunch. And then you can of course hold his gun. And again, really, which I love the fact that he comes with a gun. But if you include the wing halves of Devastator's chest plate, you can give it to him and turn it into a crossbow of something. Or something. You have to bolt in, because you have to include this. Insert this into the hands proper. And it's kind of like a cyber bow or something like that, but I really at least hate the fact that this part is useless here for robot mode, which I really honestly think it's really useless. So again, but overall, I like Scrapper a lot more. He looks perfect, absolutely perfect. So next up on our list is Mixmaster here, the Mad Chemist of the Constructicons. Now, instead of a forward-facing cement mixer that like he was in the cartoon, he is actually a backward-charging cement mixer. Which, as you can see, there's the filter right here, and this is where the cement goes down. And what you see here, this is the engine block, and which becomes the fake foot for Devastator. And again, much like Scrapper, Mixmaster does come with his G1 gun, and it plugs on these three pieces at the top of the hood of the engine itself, like so. and that's my sticker here, which I actually got from with the inclusion of Studio Series 86 movie Scourge, and it's a big Decepticon symbol right there. But this is a much more cartoon accurate one, but never mind. Now the main difference between the Hasbro and this version of Mixmaster is basically, again, the silver painted rims, and you got the silver less here, and it was the receptacle was basically purple all over, and now it has been painted green to blend it with the top of the vehicle. And the gas canisters are basically were silver on the Combinivores. Now they have just basic purple, and the engine detail here was basically painted. You got the Decepticon symbol right here, and with the ultimate silver paint, and the windows are all painted purple here of the engine itself to replicate that fake that cab foot of Mixmaster when he cab foot of Devastator. I'm sorry, when Mixmaster becomes one of his legs. So to transform him into his robot mode, obviously take off the gun, and he's very much simple to transform. I'm going to take the engine section here and flip out his head, and it will lock into place. Then take the arms here, extend them upwards, and again, then take the front section here of the truck, then untap it from the receptacle itself, and fold it all the way around, and spread it apart. Start to form the legs, and boom! There's Mixmaster in robot mode. So I gotta be honest, Mixmaster is a little bit of a mixed bag though. On the first glance, he looks really perfect. You got the really nice face sculpt. You got the red for the eyes and the silver paint on the faceplate itself. You got the Bissell hand, much like in the original cartoon, and even the tires on the sides of his shoulders. And you got the cap, which is gonna form his foot. It's gonna form his legs. But the only big disappointment here for me is the cement drum here itself. I wish it could really rotate, and because as you can see, it's really stuck in and even if he topples over, the cement drum acts this on like a tripod or something, which I really don't like, and it almost makes him look like it's like Waspinator from Beast Wars, because he had this thorax section here on the back of him as he had in Beast Wars, but Mixmaster doesn't have that in the cartoon. In the G1 cartoon, it actually should rotate. It should rotate all the way up to the where the engine section is, and the improvement on over the Combinivores version is actually not. He had actually the elbow joint like this, which actually almost looks like it's broken under the arm, but they actually molded it like this, created some elbow joints here. So not the best fit here, to be honest, but I think these elbows are a little bit better, in my opinion, than the Combinivores one. Now, in terms of his articulation, his head will rotate. It was a little bit hindered due to the missile hat. His arms rotate all the way around. Basic articulation over the arms. You got the really tight bicep swivel, and you got the so-called improvement of the elbow joint for him. It's very similar to Hook's, because him and Hook have basically the similar arms. Back and forth at the legs, in and out, high swivel, bend at the knee, and of course the ankle tilt, which is going to be used here, and you could get this. Even you get the super pivot here for the combination mode. So overall, he also doesn't have any waist articulation. Forgot to mention that. And he can also, there's this gun here, and one of the that he uses for Devastator's pieces. Actually, this piece, this is basically the middle part of the chest plate. It's kind of like a missile launcher or something like that, but honestly, it's really not that good in my opinion. But so overall, I might put Mixmaster here in the 4th position. Not exactly though, but it's still good enough nonetheless. Up next now we have Hook, who's the only character with the Japanese name Gren, which I believe is the misspelled version of the crane, which actually this alt mode is. And obviously Hook here transforms into a crane truck, and he becomes the upper torso part of Devastator. So as you can see here, you got his gun here. Again, much like the others, he comes with the gun of his own. And it slots here right up the side of the crane boom here. This side's actually really loose there, so I'm not going to do that though. And in terms of the articulation for in vehicle mode though, actually only his crane boom can move up and down, and that's all. And this doesn't actually rotate because he has a much more important part to play in combiner form. Now, and again, very much like all the others, he has silver painted rims and metallic crane boom here, which was, I believe, was plain green on the combinables version. And I know the rims were painted. That's all I know. Now, to transform him, first thing you want to do, you want to lift the crane up out of the way. Let's extend the camera here. And take, it's going to be the underside of the vehicle, and split it apart here at the front. And take the foot, it's much like Scrapper. Pull these down, and according these sections here inward, and as you can see, there's a slot right there, and there's a tab right in here. So you're going to align this up and lock it into place to form his feet. Form his leg, actually. Then we stand him up there. And as you can see, I have this is the main issue here I'm having right now with this guy, with Hook. He's unable to stand on his own, which we'll get to later. Now that his legs are formed, we'll take the back wheels here, which are going to form the shoulders, and another one of the issues here, again, which I'll get to. Hold up the fists, then take this crane section here and extend this down to form his shoulder pads, and rotate his head, and boom, there you have Hook in robot mode. So as far as the feel of the character is concerned, Hook is the one I was the one I wanted to like it the most, but actually he's the weakest one for me. But don't get me wrong, but his details here are much better than the Hasbro release of it. And again, and this is the main issue here, if the crane boom could have collapsed up to the back, really down, it would have the problem here. And on my copy of the figure, because I had this guy for so long, and the shoulder joints are much too loose. Actually, the in and out movement of the shoulders is way too loose, but not so much the rotation of the shoulder all the way 360 around. No, it's really cool though, to be honest. And again, looks like I said in my portion for Mixmaster, Hook has had the kind of like a elbow joint, which looks like his arm's been broken, but now they have retooled this to form a proper elbow, which is really good though. And again, he can hold his gun here with his hand here, which is pretty cool. But unfortunately, Hook feel-wise, he's really weak, in my opinion. So, and yes, he can't even hold his gun properly either. But if you could get some soft spot there, but there you go. Now, in terms of his articulation here in robot mode, his head obviously rotates all the way 360 degrees. He can lick a little bit of up and down, but nice head sculpt there, by the way. Arms can rotate, like I said, but the back cable gets in the way. Like I said, the in and out of the shoulders is way too weak because of my copy. You have a little bit of a bicep swivel, and again, some retooled elbow joints right there. Again, like I said, and he doesn't have any waist articulation due to the reason being becoming the upper torso of Devastator. And back and forth at the hips, in and out, nice swivel, very tight. Single bend at the knee, and much like the others, he's got ankle tilts. As far as his parts of Devastator is concerned, he's gonna use this, the second half of Devastator's blaster though. And I think this is much of a better use of a weapon than say for Mixmaster and Scrapper. So feel wise, Hook is I really wanted to like him, but I'm sorry, I just can't. Now for comparison here he is next to Mixmaster, and as you can see, like I said, they have very similar arms here, designed here, and again, the very same retool joints here. So I think Hook is I'm gonna put Hook in the last position, because he feel wise he looks and Mixmaster is really good. Mixmaster is really good. But Hook is, sorry, I'm gonna give him the 3 out of 10 score for me. Sorry, I know I should have been harsh on this, but because of my copy, he feels really weak. Now we move on to the arm guys, that being Scavenger and Bonecrusher. Starting off with Scavenger here, he transforms into an excavator, which is pretty cool vehicle here. But due to the nature of his transformation, he can't twist the upper part of it. But his scoop can move up and down and can shove through the dirt like a real excavator would, which is pretty cool. And but again, like I said on my copy, this hinge here where the scoop move up and down actually is a little bit loose there, but you can tighten it up yourself, but no big deal though. And again, he comes with his gun, and this is how he killed Frowley in the 86 movie. It doesn't plug it on this side though, but because it's pretty loose there. And it gets stores here on the right side of the back side, where the cabin would be. And the main difference here between the Combinivores version and this version of the Scavenger is not much, because the paint has been swapped out. Yeah, because I believe the Combinivores version, this was silver, on both sides. Now he has red on this side and silver on the other. And even then, even though when we get to the robot mode, his chest piece is also very different in terms of the paint applications here. And again, and he has big rolling treads, and there's a big roller piece right there. So where he can roll really nicely, which is pretty cool. And that's about him. Now we move on to Bonecrusher, who is the thug bruiser of the group and transforms into a bulldozer. And the main difference here between the Hasbro and this version of Bonecrusher is actually he has purple on the inside of the treads. And when we get to the robot mode, there will be much more differences right there. But due to the reason being the arm of Devastator, because when they combine into Devastator, the Bonecrusher's treads are colored purple, much like Scavenger's. And his bulldozer blade can move up and down like this, and again he comes with his gun, very much like the others, but he doesn't have plug on the other side of the cabinet right there. It only plugs it on this side. So the way now you might be thinking, why am I doing these guys together at the same time? But because they're both have treads and they have both similar things here in terms of the looks, in terms of the legs for the robot modes. But I think these are the good parts as individuals, as the individual figures of their own. They are not hindered by their combiner gimmick whatsoever, and it's really cool if you ask me. And again, even though I'm using it for size comparison here as well, you can see here Bonecrusher and Scavenger here almost line up together, but like when you see it like this, actually Bonecrusher is a little bit longer here because of the bulldozer blade right there. But overall, I believe these two are, as individuals, they're really cool. Now to transform Scavenger and Bonecrusher into the robot modes. Starting off with Bonecrusher here first. Again, much like always, remove the gun and put it off to the side and unpeg the treads here on this, from this black section here, and untab these parts here from these hooks. And here's where we're going to talk about his biggest improvement here on this version of Bonecrusher. Where actually if you remember, the Combiner Wars version of Bonecrusher really had the potential to get his crotch come undone. So what I like to do first is I'm going to form the legs. Then fold the treads down, and then these ends of the treads will become the feet, like this. Do the same thing on the other side. Fold these down and extend them like this, which I've got to be honest, really tight on Bonecrusher though. There we go. And now we're going to align the crotch, and which is biggest improvement right there. I mean, it still comes apart really easily though, but not as readily as his Hasbro release, and it clips in now much better. If you can like get it aligned, that is. Let's straighten out the legs, and then from there is this crunch pretty much done. But again, it really comes off way too easily, but not that much, but not by Hasbro release worse. I'm gonna put it down for a bit. To straighten off the camera, or raise it out to be exact. Then take this back section here, hold this down, which is going to be forming the elbow joint of Devastator's arm, and fold the cappa down just really tight. And flip out his head. Then take these pieces, fold these down, and rotate them around. And obviously they're going to form the arms. And the bulldozer blade, of course, will become the chest. And as you expect, it will line it over and cover up this purple joint here, which is basically going to be using for arm movement for Devastator. And then take this entire section with it consists of the cabin and the head. You're going to plug this into this slot right there, and some tabs right there. It will secure the connection like this, and it will clip it in, and then push this section here where the head is, and then pull this back, and there you have the thug bruiser of the group, Bonecrusher, into his robot mode. Now putting him onto the side. Now moving on to Scavenger. Again, I'm going to remove his gun. Then take the scoop of the excavator. It locks down into place. But it really locks into place really nicely, unlike the Combiner Wars version, which is a really nice upgrade for this guy. But what I like to do is to rotate the shovel around here like this. And what I'm going to do here is unpeg the treads, and we're going to remove, peg the sides there, and this is where his crotch is, and it's almost tight at first, but you're going to lift it up, and well, I'm going to clip these guys later. I'm going to clip the legs now with the hips actually, and then again, much like Bonecrusher, fold up the bottom to form the feet and extend them, and straighten them out, and then the sides of the excavator itself are going to form the shoulders and the arms, and rotate them down like this, and lift it up, and fold up the fist, and snap it into place. And with this is a little bit different here for this because it has a cabin right there. And fold the cabin back, and then take this shoulder part and peg it in, while moving the arm at the same time, like this. Same thing on the other side. And this is where I'm gonna clip in the crotch. And it's really tight again, like I said at first. I'm gonna straighten him out, like so. Then fold this panel down, flip up his head, and position the shovel however where you want. And there you have the arm guys of Devastator, Bonecrusher, and Scavenger fully transformed into their amazing looking robot modes. So Scavenger and Bonecrusher, in my honest opinion, are the best parts of this whole set as individuals, because pretty much their combiner style form is just part of the vehicle forms with some minor modifications right there. And yeah, they're definitely unhindered by being part of the combiner itself, which is really cool. Starting off with Bonecrusher here first, and again, this is really an excellent looking head sculpt there, which is a really boxy. You got the red visor, you got the silver paste plate right there, and he is pretty much accurate to his animation model. I mean, almost to a fault though, where actually, if I remember right, the Combiner Wars version had actually the silver paint here on the chest and on the arms, which I think was supposed to replicate the original G1 toy. And again, the crotch comes apart really easily on my copy, but you just have to be really careful with it. So he's really completely accurate, almost to a fault, where his arms and his chest are basically missing the silver paint, much like on the Combiner Wars version did. And again, you see here his crotch is really coming easily undone, but it stays much better. It stays much better if you don't pose him around. And if I'm honest, he has the best arms in the group because of the way he transforms. It really gives him a double bend here at the elbow. Now moving on to Scavenger. This guy is really cool. I mean, he's again very blocky and very boxy, much like the others. And I believe he had this yellow stripe right there, like on the Combiner Wars version, but he has now 2 black dots, which I believe was the original G1 toy Devastator's combining points, which have no use for them, and have no use in the combining gimmick anymore. And again, there's not much paint difference here between the Hasbro and this version of Scavenger, but obviously Bonecrusher does as well. Now, in terms of their articulation, Scavenger obviously rotates all the way around, can look a little bit of up and down. Arms are on really tight ball joints here, especially for Scavenger. Move in and out. Kind of like a swivel joint right there, and it has a ball joint here at the elbow. And it clicks right there, and his fists do not articulate, and he doesn't have a waist articulation at all. Back and forth at the hips, in and out, and again, now I want to mention about the legs. So Scavenger here, in the Combiner Wars version, both Scavenger and Bonecrusher had similar, because of having similar legs, Scavenger and Bonecrusher actually had ball jointed legs right there in the Combiner Wars version, which is kind of like to achieve the same thigh swivel and the bend of the knee. But now they have a dedicated points right there for those. There's the thigh swivel right there, and again, it's a really deep 90-degree bend at the knee, and you got the ankle tilts, and similar thing here with the Bonecrusher here, and again, his ankles are there, and again, much like I showed on Scavenger, really has a dedicated thigh swivel and dedicated knee joint. So, which really improves their articulation at best. And because of that, pretty much their robot modes are absolutely amazing and completely unhindered by being the part of the combiner. Definitely, these two guys as individuals are really cool. Now, in terms of the accessories for as far as Devastator's parts are concerned, which I'm gonna get it just right away. There we go. These guys, what these guys are gonna use, and this is pretty much much better than the others. And you can see you can have Scavenger and Bonecrusher having holding their own guns, as well as their Devastator combining hand part. It's really cool, if I'm honest. And it's much better use of the weaponry when not in combiner form. or as I would like to do, what I did with Scavenger now, I give him the missile hand, or you could, if you wanted to, open up the fist, which is basically, it's gonna be Devastator's fist, and plug it on Bonecrusher's hand. Now he's got a big old Hulk smashing hands, where he could smash them and bash them. Just really nice. And again, he can also hold his gun here, like so. So again, the ARM guys, especially these two, they're absolutely unhindered by being part of the Combiner. And really, that's really a good thing. And not much of a pain difference between their Hasbro and the Takara releases of these guys. Now last, but certainly not least, is Long Haul, who is actually the biggest of the group. And even though, as you can see, here are the accessories that we can use to make Devastator, stored on his actual truck bed. And props to Takara, they have actually put on how to put these accessories in their instruction manual, which unfortunately I've lost. And there you can see, like here, this is the middle part of Devastator's chest plate, where it plugs on here on the top of it. Obviously used by Mixmaster. Then we have his original G1 gun, which plugs on his forearms right there. Which I'm gonna remove it just for the time being. And it has it into the slot right there. And now Devastator's blaster is actually held by place, like by this rectangular tab right there. And the main portion of the gun, let's see if I can move. It's because it's a really tight fit and it fits in with a circular peg. Now the wings of the chest plate, both just used by Scrapper, are actually clip on these slots and have these tabs here right there. And then the missile pods, again, both used by Scavenger and Bonecrusher, actually peg into these slots right there. So here we have Long Haul without all of his accessories, and again, much like the Combiner Wars version, he has painted rims, but instead of the purple forearms, he has black, much like in the cartoon, and his legs and his hips are basically green, but just to blend in with the overall colors. And they also painted it at the side lights and the headlights front, which is really cool. And unfortunately, he doesn't have actually, the truck bed actually doesn't tilt because of the way he transforms. But overall, he's really solid guy. I mean, he's a really chunky boy. And now to transform him, it's gonna be a loud transformation though. I mean, as you can see, because he becomes the main waist part of Devastator, you're gonna see some really tight joints. It's just to make this guy. So first, what I'm gonna do is unpeg the front here, which obviously exposes his head, and unpeg the truck bed right there. But unlike in the cartoon, where the truck bed is supposed to be folded down and form his legs, we're gonna take this entire section here, along with the cabin and the grill, hold this up like so, and take his head right there, fold it into place, and then fold this down. But before we do that, unpeg the tires here from the shoulder, from these parts. I'm gonna angle them up, and then this clip is gonna peg in right there to form his chest, and then there's a little angled tab right there, and there's an angled slot here right there. So it's what push it up to the shoulders like so. Yeah, his shoulders pretty much done. And then, and this is where we're gonna hear this. He has very loud ratchet joints on this guy. I mean, and then we can move on to the hips, move it just a little bit, and then take out the real foot of long haul. And standing him up here just like so. Putting the camera in the back just a little bit. And give him his gun. And boom! There you have long haul, or as I would like to call it, long chubby haul in his robot mode. So now we have long haul in robot mode, and he's really good looking. Not completely perfect he is though, but still pretty good nonetheless. And it's pretty cool. And again, the dump truck doesn't become the part of his feet though, but because of being the main part of Devastator, he's supposed to be like that. Now in terms of the paint differences here, you got the black. You got the black here to try and blend it with the wheels, and he has some cartoon accurate black forearms though, and it was silver right there on the Combinables version, and now it's all green, and a little bit of a silver right there. And in terms of the articulation improvement, long haul actually does have a proper, and I mean really proper, bicep swivel. And obviously can bend at the elbow pretty nicely. But unfortunately on the Combinables version, he can only do this, which is really ugly. But that's for the transformation into the combiner form. And the nice face sculpt right there, which is pretty cool. Now, in terms of the articulation of long haul in robot mode, the head is really tight, and sometimes it has a tendency to fall down because of the transformation joint like this. And it's really loose there. The arms can rotate all the way around, not so much in and out, because of the way the wheels are bumping into the smokestack and the cabin right there. And as I mentioned, the proper bicep swivel, proper bend at the elbow, no wrist articulation, but actually, he is the only one to have a proper waist articulation this time. But due to the like I said, main part of Devastator, he is supposed to be like that. And there's a proper waist articulation this time, which is ratcheted, which is pretty cool. And the hip joints are extremely tight. Not so much on my copy, but when you get your own for the first time, it's really tight. And you can see, and as you heard, really loud ratchet joints right there. And again, and move in and out, they're like this. Thigh swivel, and this is his actual knee bend, and this actually is Devastator's knee, and this is actually Long Haul's knee. And again, the ankle tilt. So again, his hip is in and out, especially the joints at the hips are so damn tight. So damn tight, I tell ya. But because to support the sheer weight of Devastator itself when it when fully combined. But I gotta, he's really kind of chubby. And it was kind of like a plushy version of this guy. It was like, oh, I want to hug him. And he definitely feels like a Japanese sumo wrestler. A Transformers version of a Japanese sumo wrestler. Now for the main shot and for the main size comparisons. Now as you can see, for the Decepticon size comparison here I have the Unite Warriors Constructicons compared next to Siege Voyager class Soundwave, Cell Shaded Megatron, and Earthrise Voyager class Starscream. And as you can see, when you compare here when Soundwave, Bonecrusher and Hook are actually bigger than him. And when you compare Longhaul and Scrapper to Megatron, he's really dwarfed. But Megatron almost reaches to Scrapper's height. As far as Starscream, he's also really short. But because of the way they form into the combiner, sorry for my shaky movement of the camera, because it's really difficult to put out this shot like this together here. But this is how they would scale right next to these current Voyagers from the previous Voyagers right now. And now for some Autobot size comparison. Here they are next to Earthrise Deluxe class Hoist and Voyager class Grapple. And as you, much like they were in the cartoon. I believe this scaling is almost dead on. And I had to include Grapple and Hoist because these two, Grapple and Hoist, were the engineering bots. And Grapple wanted to make the solar power tower. I believe it was in season 2 of G1, and the episode was called The Master Builders, where actually the Constructicons actually requested Grapple and Hoist, and they thought they were working together and building that tower, and they did, only to be betrayed by the Constructicons. And then Grapple's dream was destroyed. He was really sad about that. But overall, nicely scaled figures. And now it's time to merge the Constructicons into the mighty Devastator. We'll start off with the legs first. Starting off with here, Scrapper, one of the leaders who isn't a torso at all. To transform him into a leg Devastator, first of all, what you want to do, you want to spin the scoop here, and there's a little tab here, right on the back, and this peg will peg into. So peg this like so, and it's nice and solid and not going anywhere. Then take the cabin of the front end loader and rotate it around, so this part won't move at all. And right here for his arms, you can take these, rotate them around, and clip them into place. And then you rotate the arms at the bicep, and these will clip on here onto these tabs right there. And if you wanted to, you can use his own fists to create the actual heel support for Devastator. And now, for his feet, you're gonna lift them up like so. And here's the one leg. Here's one leg pretty much done of Devastator. as we all know and love to fear. Now putting Scrapper out of the way. Now moving on to Mixmaster. First of all, take this section here, which is the engine. Fold this up, and this will up this, and this is the main part of it, at the center of his chest, is actually the heel. Then take the front section, unpeg it like you would for robot mode, but first you need to unpeg the arms, and they will fold back alongside there. Some of the joints are really tight, so they gotta come unpegged, but it's easy to tap them back on. Then take the legs, straighten them out, and separate them like you would transform him into robot mode, and tilt his feet down so you can get enough clearance to unpeg these tabs. And then you can combine the legs back together. It's really difficult for me here to do this like this while filming the review. And now I'm clipping that together. And there you have his legs pretty much done. Now, for long haul, he has to remain like this in robot mode though. To fold his arms like this, fold his head down, and I almost forgot to mention that this tab right there always solidifies the connection here, which I almost forgot to mention in my of this guy's portion. Then pop the truck bed and rotate the waist all the way around, and you can see, like I said, loud ratchet joints right there. And he will stay like this so that the skirt armor of Devastator is in the front. Now again, move the legs out of the way and fold up the feet like so. And then we slightly raise the camera up just like so. And then bringing on the legs like this. Take the Devastator's knee and rotate it all the way around so that it points towards the wheels. And as you can see, let's open these up. And as you can see, even by connecting it, he's going to be pretty big. So actually, Mixmaster here is going to connect this side, but we're connecting these slots with these tabs right there, and it's going to slide it onto the front here. So let me adjust the camera here first. So, like this, it's going to slide it onto here. Like so. And these panels here, which are the front sides of the truck, this mid mixer Mixmaster, are going to fold here inside to lock them into place. And as you can see, you get a big snap, and it's not going anywhere. Now, similar thing here for Scrapper, but it's this time it's using his feet to lock it into place. Slide it on. Let me get the truck bed out of the way. Let's slide it onto here like this. Yeah, he's a pretty big boy, as Chobby the Hung would say. So. Slide it onto here like this, and then take the feet, and those will lock in place. And here you have his lower part here's the lower part of Devastator fully much done. And as you can see, he's already growing up to be pretty damn big. Now for Hook. Now you have to slide this crane assembly here, which I forgot to mention in the transformation video for this guy. And take his arms and fold it up like this, just behind the back wheel. And lift the crane out of the way. Then, as you expect, we're gonna bend him in half. So right on this side here, there's a ridge, and there's a little locking mechanism right here, in which you're gonna bend it all the way inside, like so. And this is a little tough to get out, but it got out. And these clips are gonna lock with each other. And in my copy, it really locks into place really easily. And now you're gonna flip out some tabs here. This arm, you can leave it up like this now, but you're gonna need this to clip onto long haul. And then you're gonna fold this piece down, which are gonna peg it. I'm just gonna peg on the long haul smokestack, and then to flip out his chest to clip on the long haul. And just to demonstrate that, I have to. It's gonna be really bizarre angle right there, like this. But I'll do my best. Just put this up for a little bit. Raise the camera up just a little. And I show you what I mean. And as you can see, like I said, this tab here on a bit right between Hook's feet is gonna peg onto long haul smokestack, and this, which is basically the cabin of long haul, is this clip on Hook's right deployed from Hook's chest is going to clip into there, and there are some slots right here on side of Hook's chest and his feet. There's one foot, and they're going to tab into on these tabs which are part of long haul's shoulders. So, and actually this is going to be really tough for me, but you're just going to slide onto him like this. You just slap it on him. And what I like about this guy, he really solidifies. He's really solid though, which is really cool. And then you connect slots here. So again, very difficult because he's a big boy. He's about to be pretty big when fully combined. And there we go. Now we have the upper part of Devastator's torso pretty much done. So straighten them out here. And don't worry, we're going to cover some of it with some of the accessories. And now for Scavenger and Bonecrusher. So start off with Bonecrusher here first. Again, untap the treads. Then fold this piece up like so, and rotate this so that there's the elbow joint right there. Put it on like this for now. And then for Scavenger, again, unpeg the treads. But at this time, it will use his own chest piece right there. Like this. And now to connect Scavenger and Bonecrusher right there. So in order to connect them here, you need to deploy some tabs here right on hooks, on the side of hook, like so, from like flipping out to the cabin here and flipping out the tab, and also from the where the crane is operated. It's operated right there. And now, first of all, we're gonna attach Scavenger here. On my copy, the legs don't really connect it on Long Haul's arms right really nicely though, but it's gonna slide right there. Slide right there, and if you move this out of the way, the tab here on Long Haul's fist is gonna peg onto Scavenger right there. Easy enough, and there's one arm. Now, for Bonecrusher, he's really difficult to get out, and to get in, and to take off. And on my copy, it's really similar, but it's really solid. And again, lift up this part of Bonecrusher. And again, you can see there's a little slot right here, right on Bonecrusher's treads, and this is where Long Haul's fist will plug into. And you can leave the bulldozer blade like this if you want to. So that's the main part of Devastator pretty much done. And as you can see, even without adding some of the other pieces, he is a big boy, really big boy. And now to complete the look, we're gonna take these pieces here, which are used by Scrapper and Mixmaster, or they're gonna form the chest plate here, and bringing the main body here for a closer look. And you got some slots here on Scavenger and Bonecrusher's treads, and these will peg into these pegs and these pegs. And there's a little circular hole here, a circular peg, and that's gonna peg into the circular hole on hook. So what I mean by that, I'm gonna clip this first onto Long Haul's chest, and then clip the chest piece onto Scavenger and Bonecrusher's treads. So again, he is pretty big, and it's really difficult for me to do like this, because I've never really did a big character before. It was a combiner. It was a combiner like this, as a matter of fact. That's coming apart, but don't worry, I'll fix that. You can then plug it in here on Bonecrusher, and then solidify it. And now that solidifies the chest. And that connects, and that chest piece fully connects Scavenger, Hook, Bonecrusher, and Long Haul fully securely. Now we move on to these things, and that's where these come into play. And rotate these around until they snap into place, and rotate them around so that the thumb is facing forward. So the same thing on the other side. And on my copy, this wrist wants to pop off really easily right there. So adjust the camera a little bit, and take this, and this will go on the Scavenger, and then this will plug into Bonecrusher, just like the gloves, and then flip up this piece here, which solidifies Hook one last time, and it will clip in, and rotate the head which is what I did. And the mighty Devastator stands awakened.
Constructicons, transform! Phase 1! Now, transform! Phase 2! Prepare to meet your doom. Nothing can withstand the might of Devastator!
And here we have the Unite Warriors Buildrons, or aka Constructicons, fully combined into the mighty Devastator. And as you can see, he is pretty damn big. And he's 18 centimeters tall, as his box suggested. And there he is next to compared to Siege, Voyager Megatron, Thrice Starscream, and Siege Soundwave. And these three are puny compared to this guy. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, the size. I mean, he's pretty big. My camera doesn't really fit along really well though, because of the way how huge he is. But this is undeniably the best G1 combiner that is pretty much solid, much articulated, and fully transformable. So now let's take a little bit closer look for this guy. But because of the way Devastator is, and due to his size, so I'm going to do this in 3 parts here. First of all, we focus on the head, the torso, the arms, and then we're moving on to the hips, and then we're moving on to the legs. But bringing Devastator's head for a closer look, that is undeniably Devastator. And his face has been painted gunmetal gray, just like on Scrapper. And even the amazing feature here, like this, it's a spoiler right there. You can raise his forehead and flip out his visor down, and boom, there you have Devastator without the shades, which I personally really like. To be honest, though. But a part of me says that he had the visor head really looks really well, and it's really nicely blended. It's really executed pretty well. This gimmick is executed pretty perfectly here, and which replicates the animation errors on Devastator to the different types of heads he had in the animation. Just moving on to the torso section here, and again, his detailed are off the charts. Even coming up to the War for Cybertron trilogy figures, have detailed this so badly. And again, now for the articulation in the head, it just swivels, it just rotates all the way around. It can move up and down because of the way he combines. And the arms are a major improvement over the Combinaverse version there. On the Combinaverse version, if I remember, they were just friction joints. But if you move the arms like this, he has actually the proper ratchet joints on this guy. Just pretty amazing. And really improves the overall look of the character. And moving on to the hands, you can bend them at the elbow. You can have bicep swivel, and our fingers are just one single pose. It can open and close like this to hold these two, or main portion of the blaster. And then and you can hold it pretty nicely. And because Scavenger, because of the way Scavenger transforms into the arm of Devastator, his chest piece is indented for the elbow joint, making the arm the ultimate arm, which is amazing. And again, yeah, and the wrist swivel because of the transformation into the missile pod mode. And same thing here for the other side. And again, using Longhaul's own waist. And he can't hold his gun really properly though. Using Longhaul's waist, Devastator has actually proper waist articulation whatsoever. Just really, really nice. Moving down to the legs, I have to lower the camera down just for this. Just a little bit right there. There we go. Now moving on to the hips. Moving the arms out of the way. They can move. The skirt armor can flip up, and he can kick a lot. He can kick high. Can go back and forth. And again, very loud ratchet joints right there. And can go in and out. So I believe that's the main reason he has. Well, Longhaul has so many tight ratchet joints. It's really, really tight. They go in and out. He's got a thigh swivel. He's got a ratcheting bend at the knee that can go past 90. Straighten it off to the side for now. And now moving on to the feet. He actually has ankle tilt, but actually he has 2 ankle clicks. Well, Mixmaster has 3 sometimes. So you can put on some awesome poses out of him. And he's really, really poseable like this. I mean, like I said, I never really reviewed a figure of this size at all. But overall, he is surprisingly articulated for a size, for a guy, for a combiner of this size. Just really, really cool. But I can't say the same thing here for Predicate. But now, in terms of the storage for the individual weapons, you can turn him in onto the back, and there are some pegs. There are some pegs right there, which are the 2 sides right there, which will somehow fill out the truck bed, but not by much. First of all, we're gonna take Scrapper's gun here, and then take Mixmaster's. We're gonna plug it into this small hole, bigger one here. That's really tight. And then we'll take Bonecrushers, and I believe there's a little small slot right there. Yeah, that's right. And this top hole here on Mixmaster's gun is gonna peg onto. It's where Hook's gun is gonna peg into, and that will solidify the connection here and plug it onto the truck bed. As for Scavenger and Longhaul's weapons are concerned, Scavenger's gun plugs underneath Longhaul's gun. And again, it pegs it onto the side to fill out the truck bed when not in use. So I believe it's a really, really cool usage of accessories right there. But overall, Unite Warriors Devastator is an absolute beast. I mean, his articulation is amazing. The way the ratchet joints work on the shoulders, the way his leg joints are tight, is amazing. The combiner form is really, really amazing here. And to start off with the individuals, Scavenger and Bonecrusher are amazing, and so is Scrapper. Well, long hauls too, but I can't say the same thing for Mixmaster and Hook. But the way that they really combine really well, and he's skilled pretty well alongside Siege Voyager Megatron, Starscream, and Soundwave, or even the Earthrise Starscream, which is pretty cool if you ask me. I highly recommend this guy. If you don't have Devastator, or you like Transformers, or even like this guy in general, I highly recommend this version to pick up. And now but unfortunately he's really, really expensive in the aftermarket to get it, and also Predicate. But I'm glad that I got him when he was released in the when actually this is the reissue of this guy, which is pretty cool. And I'm glad I got it was the reissue. I'm really glad that this guy has been reissued. The ones who have missed out on this guy. And I'm glad I got him from Hobby Link Japan. I'll put the link down in the description below. So I thank you so much for watching. So until my next review, till all are one.